Hi, how are you guys doing? It's been a while since I last did a video. Have a little music playing again in the background. I kind of enjoy having a little music to play with. This is actually one of my groups that I like to listen to, Owl City. They are very good. I like their music, electro pop, and a lot of emotion in the music. It really is interesting to listen to. This guy's good. So anyway, just to bring you up to date on things. So I started my new job. I'm working in the city now. I've been there for about 3 weeks, and things are going well. You know, I'm transitioning, learning the job, and all. You know, it was hard for me to leave the other job I had. It was a wonderful place to work. I always enjoyed my association there. Worked with great people, and it was difficult. You always have attachments when you work and you become acquainted with people. And I had a wonderful relationship where I worked on the island. Good people, sad to have to leave, but circumstances played a role, I guess you could say. Anyway, yeah, now I'm working in the city. I haven't been in the city for ages as far as work goes. And it's actually a wonderful place where I work. And I'm very happy. The people are wonderful, and they're very accepting and accommodating, and they made me feel very comfortable since day one. They allow me to dress as I please, so I have much more flexibility in how I go to work and present myself. Currently I'm presenting as a female. I dress accordingly, I wear nice outfits. I'm a professional, I do my work. So the dressing part is just, just me. It's nothing more than that. It's just, you go to work, you dress. And I was always more comfortable wearing women's clothes. That's just how I felt all along. And there's no need for me to hide anymore. That's the main thing. Being transgender, there are many people who are transgender, but they're afraid to come out. And I was very afraid myself. And not sure exactly what allowed me to come out, but since coming out I feel much happier as I'm living my life the way I've expected to all along. I always want to have freedom in how I present and dress, and I've always been a professional. I've always was dedicated to my job and doing the best that I could, and that still will always be the case, whether I'm dressing as a woman or not. But now I'm happier because I get to live and be a female. It's a long process, and it's not going to happen overnight. But as time goes by and things develop and I start to get established in my role at work and becoming more acquainted with things and dealing with people, everything will start to flow and everything will become more natural for me. I am kind of amazed though that I got such a great reception and people are so nice to me. It just makes me feel happy. I was always treated well. Even my former employer was very open-minded and wanted to help me, and I appreciate that. And it was a very difficult decision to have to leave there and move on, because like I said, I worked with good people and I always enjoyed my stay there, and it was a good working opportunity for me. All my job opportunities I look on favorably, and all my relationships with my coworkers, my employer, those are very important, and I can't emphasize that enough, because when we move and we grow professionally, we all are the sum of our work experience, and from each job we grow stronger and more confident in our abilities. And I always try to learn and develop and take something with me when I go from one job to another. Hopefully as I get older, job moves will not be as frequent and I'll finally settle in. I feel I have another 20 years ahead of me of working, so hopefully this will be the career for me. And transitioning is something that's very important. Obviously, I also need to be there for my family. have a family that I truly care about, and I want to be the very important figure in that family, and also take care of my son, make sure he's doing well. I mean, he's also transitioning in school to a new school, so he's got some issues that we're addressing, and hopefully he'll be able to adjust to the new school and start to feel better about his own situation and growing and all. He's at an awkward age too. He's a teenager. I kind of remember those years. 13 for me was a difficult time also, so I don't envy my son as a teenager, because it is a difficult time. But he'll be fine, I know. I have confidence, and I love my son, I love my wife, and I will always stand by their side and be there for them. For me, it's been a difficult road, and emotionally, it's hard when you have to deal with such painful issues. You know, I did not want to inflict pain on anyone, but also I've always felt inside that I had differences that most people couldn't relate to. And I knew when I was young that I was going to deal with transgender issues, and knew eventually I'd have to make big decisions. And to me, this is not a surprise. It's actually something I was planning to have to deal with. And actually, I'm dressing and working as a female now, so I feel great. I mean, I don't feel like it's anything out of the ordinary. To me, it just feels natural. And I feel perfectly normal now, walking around, going from my car to the office. Actually, I'm driving in still. I should be taking the train. I have to start getting used to taking the train. To be honest with you, I am a little shy still. You know, I'm not 100% confident in presenting as a female, but I'm getting there. You know, I mean, I'm passing. I'm able to go take care of day-to-day routines, go to work and function, and accepted. Not many people laugh or know, so I think in that sense I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it's not so hard for me to present as a female, since I am petite in size, and I can present in a feminine way. For me, it's just being natural, you know. I don't think it's something that I thought I would struggle with, but I knew I would have some, you know, I'd have to get through it, and just as each day goes by, it gets a little easier. You know, obviously I have my concerns for my son and family and how they perceive things and all, so, you know, I do walk on delicate ground also. I mean, it's not 100% natural, but if I'm fully supported and I get the help I need, hopefully everything will work smoothly. And obviously we do need family counseling for my family, my wife and son, and we also need to have heart-to-heart talks. But, you know, I can relate to people who are transgender and go through this. It's very emotional. And it's something that no one really knows what it's like until they go through it. When I was a little boy, I used to want to wear a girl's outfit and dress, and I felt good. So, you know, this goes way back when I was just a 4-year-old, dressing up in sister's clothes, and then eventually in mother's clothes, and then eventually buying my own. But I always identified as a female and felt it was perfectly normal, and wanting to wear pretty outfits and getting excited when I was shopping. So, you know, it's something that just makes me feel good. And the fact that I can walk around and present myself and be accepted is big. I mean, in the city, what kind of that's a great stage to walk in present yourself, because you're out in the open. You know, I'm presenting here in the island where I live, where I go out to stores like Target and Kohl's, and I'm dressing and buying girls' clothes, and no questions asked. And now I'm in the city, and I go out for lunch, pizza, or wherever I go, and I'm just taken as a woman, and to me that's great, because that's what I want. I just want to be happy, you know, and life is complicated, but when you find yourself and you know that you're doing things to get yourself on the right track and on the right path, you can't be faulted for that. You know, I kind of knew that my life would be different. You know, I do feel guilty sometimes. I sometimes wish this was never going to happen, but you know, I would only be fooling myself if I kept those thoughts. I mean, I repressed and suppressed all of these thoughts and emotions, and you know, as you get older, life passes by, and before you know it, you start to take stock of things, and you say to yourself, you know, geez, getting older, and I'm still dealing with these issues that I dealt with since I was a child, and time is passing by, and I just thought, you know, this is the best time for me now. You know, I'm able to take initiative and to address all the things that were really bothering me. And since I took the bold step to move forward with the transition, I never felt better. I mean, actually, I feel liberated. People don't understand, but you know, the only way they can understand is if they sat down and talked to me and listened to what I went through as a child and what I went through as a young adult and working. You know, I wanted to have a family, I wanted to marry, and I'm very happy that I have that in my life. And my wife, I love her, and I want to do all I can to be there for her and for Maddie. You know, things are not perfect, they can never be perfect, but I'm a good person, and I'm gonna do all my best to provide and be there and be a strong support system. You know, I always value family, and family is very important. I certainly wouldn't want to be alone. And I think hopefully people can understand, you know. I don't think it's that bizarre when you really break it down for a male to transition to become a female. I mean, if that's how you identify, which I do, to me it makes perfect sense. I mean, I didn't know why people are so thrown off by it. It really doesn't make sense to me, because I don't know, I sense that people think that it's such a hard concept to grasp, but for me it seems perfectly logical. If you feel that you're identifying as a female and you want to dress and be presenting as a female, and you feel much happier and comfortable, then that's how you should be. I mean, what's the point in suffering so much? Why do you have to hide? Why do you have to pretend? I got tired of that. It's not worth it. Life is too short, you know. You only have a certain amount of time here. I'm 51 years old now. I mean, I feel like I'm tapping into the fountain of youth in a way. You know, I'm taking female hormones, and I'm starting to develop, and I'm looking good, and I feel healthy. I lost weight, lost about 40 pounds in 3 months' time, and I'm taking care of myself, and I just love the way I look and feel now. I mean, I'm very happy, and I never felt happier, and I like looking pretty, and taking care of myself, and just being me, you know, Emily. I always wanted to be Emily. I love my life. I love being the child that I was, and all. I was a good kid. I was very trustworthy, and I listened to my family, listened to my parents. I was a good kid. I was just trying to find myself, And I just felt more happier when I was in a girl's outfit and dressing and presenting, because that's how I always felt inside. I was always sensitive. I was drawn to female things. I always considered myself more feminine than manly. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. It's just how you just feel, and it's a natural experience to go through it. I mean, I could go on and tell you all the things that I experienced in life, some happy, some sad, but to understand the person, to understand somebody who's transgender, you have to understand the struggle that they go through, the secrecy, the feeling alone, and not having anyone to turn to, and the isolation, and just not feeling comfortable. And when you're able to be who you are, it's so amazing, because all the time that you were hiding and pretending and secretly dressing, now you're able to be that person. And people seem to be okay. Most people, I haven't had many people who gave me a hard time. I mean, I'm afraid in some ways that I might be in situations where that might be a possibility, but I have to be careful, and I realize that. But overall, I think people are good, and I think would understand for the most part. Like I said, at work, it's just tremendous, the reception I get, and I dress in pretty dresses and go to work presenting as a woman, and I'm happy, and I never felt any better. Life now is more exciting for me. I'm still with my family, I'm still doing all the things that I feel is important. I'm focusing on my work. I also work at another doctor's office on the weekends, and they're also now accepting of my transgender, and I have dressed there also as a female, and they're pretty well understanding and accepting of it now. So it's not like I'm hiding anymore. And now I don't have to wear the dresses underneath the men's suits like I used to. That was horrible to have to do that. But now that I'm able to dress freely, it's 100% much better, and just natural now. So I shed the men's clothing, and I've never felt better. To me, if I could try to encapsulate my own feelings and my own experiences being transgender, that would maybe help someone who's going through what I am and been through. I would first say that once you decide that you feel it's necessary for you to transition, I think one of the most important things you need to consider is having somebody to talk to and have as a source, and someone who will be there for you and support you. You have to build a support system, and you have to have acceptance and seek acceptance. You can't feel like you're going it alone. Certainly I feel in many ways that I have. Certainly I don't have many people I know personally who are transgender, so I'm basically on my own. And the only contact I have with other transgender is through forums on the internet, where I communicate in an open forum, and we have messages and we send IMs and all, but that's not something in person, face to face. So I think it's very important that you get to maybe a support group and you actually sit and talk with other transgender people who are going through it, male to female, female to male, whatever. Personally, I enjoy my association with male to female transgender because that's what I am, male to female. So I need to relate to other male to female transgenders and explain how life is and what we go through. I also enjoy talking to women and getting their perspective on things. because after all, that's how I'm presenting myself as a woman. So I think that's very important too, to get a good perspective on how you should conduct yourself and carry yourself. And dressing is very important. You want to make sure that you're dressing in appropriate fashions. Basically, I study what women wear and how they present themselves, and that's how I model my own way of going out into the world. And when I go out and I'm walking around and dressing, I feel good now. I feel confident, and I don't feel afraid. I'm not shy. So I think it's a wonderful awakening for me, and you don't know what it feels like, but I think it's something that's beyond words in some cases. I'm going to elaborate more on this in a writing on my blog. I haven't written in a while, but I will get back to it. Also, I've been diagnosed, by the way, with Asperger syndrome, which my son has also. So in addition to dealing with transgender, I am also autistic. And that does not take me by surprise either, because I always was insecure and shy and introverted and had social phobias. I never integrated well with other people. I always felt shy and awkward and never could look at people face to face. And I always looked away. And I was always fascinated with numbers and math and engineering and technical. I loved physics and calculus, and I excelled in my engineering classes, and also liked accounting, and just felt that numbers and technical matters were very important to me, and my mind was always involved in that. Plus, it was good that I was involved because it took my mind off of dressing up and dealing with the transgender issues. Lifelong struggle with transgender, but always good to get away from that from time to time, especially when you had a heavy course load and you were studying. So that helped me too. But the reality is that once you realize that you're dealing with transgender, you can suppress those feelings for quite some time, but I would say never able to suppress them completely. And there will come a time when you have to face your transgender and make big decisions. And at 51, that's when I decided that I needed to transition to become a female. I'm running short on time. At most, I have maybe 10 to 20 years. So I want to make these 10 to 20 years positive experience. And living as a woman would be my ultimate need to live and present, and be a woman is all that I've ever felt inside. So to actually live that and to be accepted and to work as a woman and present as a woman and to work as a woman is like amazing to me, because that's what I am. And I think that things are moving forward now, and I'm learning, I'm dealing with new things, but over time I'll be able to do well with all that, and just have patience and always believe in yourself. That's the key. You always have to have confidence, and I teach that to my son also, because being autistic, he doesn't always feel comfortable in his own social settings, and things are complicated, and kids aren't always so nice. So he's got that too, where he's got to deal with other kids, and my son is kind of innocent and naive, and he's a wonderful boy who needs coaching and a good mentor, and hopefully we'll get somebody in his life to help him also. I certainly can be a role model and a mentor to him, but also it can be very confusing to him with the situation that I'm going through, and certainly I don't want to cause any confusion for him or hurt him. And he understands what I'm going through, and he seems understanding, but he's my son. I'm the adult here, but I'm relying on him now to be mature and to understand my situation. So it's a weird thing to be in, because I'm kind of asking a lot of my 13-year-old, and personally I don't know if that's really fair to him. But for me, it's really not a choice that I have. I need to transition. So I just have to work with it and try to be the best parent I can to my son. But I love my son regardless, and I'll always be there for him. He means everything to me. And my wife too. I'm a woman, but I still feel for my wife. I have lucky to have her in my life, and hopefully she'll stay with me. I'm gonna be the same person, but things are gonna be different. But I still have that sense of taking care of her and my family, and being supportive, and being the strong support system. So I just hope that they can understand what my life has all been about, and that I have struggled for quite some time, and can't be faulted for it. I'm just trying to be happy and be who I am as a person. And so if I were to sit and talk to somebody who wanted to know what it's like to transition, I would first say that it takes courage. It really does, to all of a sudden make a sudden drastic change. But if you have the support system in place, and you have people there and they care about you, and deep down inside you're doing the right thing, and you're guided by that, and you have confidence that you can go through the process and hold up, because I am very mature about this whole thing, and I am able to deal with it, and I feel natural. There are people probably scratching their heads and wondering what's going on with me, and I certainly can appreciate that, but they don't know what's going on with me, actually, because if they did, then they would be perfectly understanding, because I used to wear this underneath the men's suit, so no more hiding anymore. I'm much happier. And, this is what it is, So I think life is better. And all I can say is, if you are struggling and you feel all alone, the best thing you can do is find somebody there to talk to, whether it's a family member, a friend, a therapist, whoever you need to find somebody. I share your feelings, open up, express them. Don't bury them, don't hide them. There's no reason to do that, and if it's gonna make you hurt inside, it's better to come clean and open up and let people know. I'm glad I'm married, I'm glad I have a son and all, that's the best thing in my life. The thing though is, I think people who are transgender and want to eventually transition, the younger they are, and they get the acceptance and the help that they need at a younger age, it makes it much easier for them, because their life isn't as complicated. But when you're fully grown and you're an adult, and you had entrenched your life as that person before transition, it's very hard to change that, and people know you for that. So to expect them to get used to the idea of you now becoming a female is very hard for some people to understand and to get their heads wrapped around. And I understand that very much. But like I said, I struggled with this for 47 years. I'm 51, so since I was a 4-year-old. So to me, this is just the natural course of events, and it was inevitable. And I'm not really surprised with what I'm doing, because I expected it all.